Hey guys, welcome to the Weekend DSP. This is for the week of April 20th, 2020. This is an interesting week because we get a saucy day. We also get DSP having some more WWE Champions trouble. The WWE Champions trouble kind of throws more evidence onto the pile that I've already presented in the other Weekend DSPs that proves that this is DSP's account. So the week starts with DSP announcing that he managed to find enough ingredients on his day out that he can make another batch of his famous Italian gout sauce. Now, what's funny is how pissy DSP gets about making the sauce on a Wednesday, which will interfere with the stream, and made the announcement on Tuesday, which is his day off. He replies with a salty message on Twitter. I just got home from running errands. Instead of relaxing with my wife on my day off, I guess I should start a 2-hour process of making sauce, then letting it simmer for 5 hours so I'll have zero relaxation time and eat my first meal of the day at 10 p.m. Mind your own business, exclamation point, exclamation point. And then he has a picture tied to the tweet with the subtitle saying, "Why are you so involved in my life?" It's just deliciously ironic that DSP would say, "Mind your own business," and "Why are you so involved in my life?" with a captioned picture, when he's the one that brought up these things that's happening in his life and telling us about it and how it's going to affect the stream, which is the only thing that he wants people to care about. He doesn't want to talk about things going on in his personal life, except for when he needs to talk about how he really needs money right now. And he doesn't want to talk about what the detractors are doing. That's why he doesn't want to do DSP Trizits. That's why he won't do house tours. That's why he only wants people talking about the game and zero personable stuff. And he even includes that in the pre-stream, saying, "Hey, it's been so good since I've clammed up and stopped telling you about shit going on in my life." So when you've tried to boil down your online presence to just the gameplay streams, and then the gameplay streams are going to be interrupted by your real life, and you're telling us what's going on in your real life, and nothing makes sense about it. Number one, I will say it probably does take DSP 2 hours to start the process of making the sauce. On the Wednesday, I did do a day stream, and I ended up restreaming Final Fantasy VII anyways, but we did review DSP's old making the sauce videos with Panda Lee, and we were paying attention to the timer on the stove, the clock on the stove, and even while recording, which could make things a little bit more difficult because you gotta hold the camera, but he made Panda hold the camera, thankfully, so we didn't get all the constant swaying and motion sickness. But reading the recipe, following the recipe, and preparing the ingredients from start to finish before the ridiculous 5-hour simmer time took him about an hour and 45 minutes. You can round that to 2 hours safely with DSP and Kat, because he's going to have to reteach her again how to make the sauce because she probably wasn't paying attention, or it's just because it's a new woman and she's got to learn someday. But in the old video with Panda, he says that the pot needs to be stirred about once every 30 minutes, or for DSP about once a week when, you need to draw some attention to yourself with drama. But he says that he would get to spend no time with his wife and that he would eat his first meal at 10 p.m. Nothing says that you have to eat the sauce the day that you make it, especially since he's making a huge pot of it that he's going to freeze for the next 6 months. This is why DSP can't meal prep. I mean, he has to get frozen meals and prepare them immediately right before he's about to eat them. There's no way that he could do all that cooking ahead of time and freeze it, because or just have something already made like a sandwich or a soup and salad and eat that while the sauce is making, and then save the sauce for later, which is exactly what he's going to do with the sauce anyways. But stirring it once every 30 minutes is about once a TV show, so sit down with your wife, load up Rick and Morty or whatever else you're gonna watch, and then after an episode is done, get up, go stir it, give her a chance to load up the next episode or whatever, and then after your 25 clockwise and 25 counterclockwise stirring or whatever, and sipping and pouring in more seasoning and 8 more bay leaves, then come back and sit down and watch another episode. Now you get to relax, now you get to spend time with your wife, and you get to cook, and then your stream is not interrupted on Wednesday. Now, I will say, as far as that Wednesday goes, DSP showed up right on time for gameplay. DSP's gameplay normally starts around 2 p.m. Central, which is my time zone, and DSP started his stream at 1:30 Central. He did 15 minutes of his music, if you can call it that, and then a 15-minute pre-stream before he went right into Final Fantasy VII, and then played that for 4 hours straight. No break. So it was Snowcarl or PW Dubs who had made fun of him about saying, why don't we skip the half-hour break so we can get more gameplay in? It also proves DSP didn't need the freaking pre-stream. He was able to skip the pre-stream, skip that break that he needs for his health, get 4 hours of gameplay in right away, and he still hit his vest goal. So what is the point of having the pre-stream and the mid-stream 45-minute break? I mean, the fans who are there for the gameplay, keep in mind, DSP only wants you there for the gameplay. Don't ask him about what's going on behind the scenes in his real life. So we as viewers got almost a full hour of extra gameplay out of Phil. Like, he didn't even clock out early. Well, not super early, maybe 5 minutes, but he was still hanging out in his chat. And he replied to Polish Frog, who was saying, wow, isn't it great that we don't need the pre-stream and we don't need the break and we can get more gameplay? And Phil says to him, we actually did get more gameplay, but if you didn't notice, we got far more stream derailment and during critical plot points that I was trying to focus on. That's the problem with a rushed stream of just gameplay. People will constantly think it's time to just derail shit with jokes and side conversation. I'm totally for that if it's on pre-stream or a lull or a stream like Warzone where I don't give a fuck about the gameplay. But during critical plot of an RPG, it pisses me the hell off, especially after playing this long to get to actual meaningful plot. If anything, today's stream proved why a pre-stream has to continue to exist. Give people time to blow off steam, joke around so we can focus on the game when I actually start playing it. So a lot of things to break down from here. Number one being that DSP is giving a shit about Final Fantasy VII's plot. He hates the plot of this game. He has ragged on it, and he ragged on it during this stream too, because I believe this was the Ghost Train Yard stream, and he was calling it filler the whole time because it didn't exist in the previous game. And I don't know if he doesn't notice or if he's just trying to Pignosis, the other guy, Polish Frog, but every stream has constant side conversation and constant jokes and memeing on him the whole time. It doesn't matter what game it is. It doesn't matter if there's a pre-stream or not. But DSP could still do a pre-stream. That doesn't matter. What's being argued is, does a break need to happen every day on stream? And obviously, no, it doesn't need to happen because DSP did a full 4-hour stream without needing to take a 45-minute break. He could still show up at 12 p.m. Central Time, do his 2-hour pre-stream, and then still stream gameplay from 2 to 6 p.m. Central Time. Now, the other part that I enjoy is DSP saying that he doesn't give a fuck about gameplay in games like Warzone. We all know that he doesn't give a fuck about gameplay at all anymore, but I have pointed this fact out before on other weekend DSPs. It's just not a good look to tell your audience, hey, I'm here to stream this game that I don't give a fuck about, but if you give me money, I'll respond to your messages. I mean, it just looks very disingenuous. Like, if you just want money for interaction, just turn on the camera and do an impromptu podcast for 2 hours, which he has done when Warzone hasn't worked out for him or when Street Fighter hasn't worked out for him. And I get that it's his job, and I know you guys will probably hate me saying that, but I mean, he legit makes over $100,000 doing this. It is a job for him. This is how he pays some of his bills, obviously not all of his bills. Now, the last statement, he says that the pre-stream needs to exist so people can joke around and focus on the game when I actually start playing it. It's almost like he's becoming minutely self-aware that the pre-stream lasts for a long time. That's why he has to say when he actually starts playing it. Like, he puts himself in the category for the game for 2.5 hours because it's 30 minutes of pre-stream music and then 2 hours of talking before he actually starts playing the game, before the game finally is booted up, sometimes even before he has his webcam in the right position and before updates are even done. Now, you guys might be wondering, wait, he did a full 4 hours with no breaks? I thought this was a Saucy Wednesday. That's right. Guess what, guys? Cat has mastered stirring the gumbo, the gout gumbo. He tweeted that out as if it was like something to be like, hey guys, guess what? I can still stream mostly tomorrow. Imagine that, though, that he allows her to stir the sauce and talks about it like it's a skill that needs to be mastered. And keep in mind, he complained that this is a 5-hour process. So did he just like chain her to the stovetop and say, all right, honey, remember every 30 minutes you gotta stir it and try not to cry into the sauce, otherwise it'll get too salty? It hasn't happened yet, but sometimes DSP does complain about his wife's cooking, and I can't wait for the pre-stream salt where he says the bitch fucked up the sauce. I would be more impressed if he tweeted out saying, Kat has mastered making my family's secret Italian sauce recipe, and I don't need to cancel the pre-stream tomorrow. It can go back to business as usual. But instead, he makes it like it's some great feat that she learned how to stir correctly. Way to infantilize your fucking wife, dude. And then set her up to be the fall girl when the sauce doesn't come out right. So after the sauce saga, we get to some wrestling drama, which I'm sure you guys are really, really in tune with. And I don't mean actual wrestling drama with the writing of the show. I mean drama related to DSP playing WWE champions. Everyone's favorite detective, Nigel of UKIP, doxed the leader of WWE champions, and this became an issue for the guild because they don't want their officers and leaders and members being doxed because they're associated with Darkside Phil. So they approached Darkside Phil and asked, are you the real DSP? Even though previously in the Discord he said, no, that's not me, I don't know who this is. Now it looks like DSP was actually a co-leader in Uselessness. That's probably why he enjoyed being here. He was a respected member of the community, and he could win his games automatically with probably like 2 or 3 match 3s in the Bejeweled game because he's got such highly overpowered wrestlers because he just dumps money into them to max out their levels. They even pointed out in their, I think this is a Facebook announcement about kicking DSP, that saying that their DSP claimed it was purely coincidental that he had the same username. DSP then tried to move to a guild called Zayna, and Uselessness was already aware of this. And I love the final thoughts that they give DSP on kicking him out. He's a good player with a very open wallet, but just be warned of what will come with it. So they only valued this guy because he's a high-level character, because he's dropped so much fucking money on the game to have every wrestler in such a high VIP level. Like, this probably fucks Uselessness in the faction feuds because they don't have a strong player like DSP being the anchor for the guild anymore. But DSP's already on to greener pastures. He attempted to join Zayna, and he was allowed in, and it looked like that they were trying to verify his identity, whether or not he was the real They Call Me DSP or not. And I guess he failed to answer their request for verification and was kicked out. I mean, DSP's getting the recognition he's always wanted now, right? Everyone in WWE Champions knows who he is now, and every time he joins a guild, they're going to be like, hey, are you the real They Call Me DSP? And he's going to keep trying to feed them that lie that, no, it's just a coincidence that I happen to have the same name as a guy who makes hundreds of thousands of dollars and is bankrupt and has nothing to show for it. So it looked like getting kicked out of Zayna wasn't the last straw for DSP to give up WWE Champions. During his break on the Saturday stream, I believe, DSP created a new guild called the Placeholders and joined it as the only member and locked other people from being able to join without his approval. Now, of course, since everyone's been following this account and monitoring when it accesses the game and when it plays the game to see if it lines up with DSP being on stream or not, before stream, after stream, etc., he gets tipped asking about the Placeholders. And I'll leave it up to you guys to judge for yourselves if you think DSP honestly has no idea what the Placeholders are, or if he's really trying to damage control this situation.
Joe Taco 13 Judy says, who are the Placeholders? I don't know what the hell that means, but thanks for the cheer. The Placeholders. No idea. Who are the Placeholders? You mean in regards to this game? I don't know. Why do I guess it's another fucking meme of some sort that I just don't understand, right? Alright, let's head to the south.
Now, normally, if there's something DSP doesn't understand, he'll just go, I don't know what you're talking about, thanks for the cheer, and move on. But then he just tries really, really, really hard to make it seem like he really doesn't know what's going on. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, is it in reference to the game? Well, I don't know what you mean in reference to the game. Oh, I bet it's a Detractor meme. Like, no one said Detractor meme or anything. All they asked was, who are the Placeholders? And he said this about previous things before, and I think I mentioned this before. But like with the foreclosure, he never outright said he wasn't being foreclosed on. He just banned people who brought it up until he was ready to talk about it and and called it Detractor nonsense. Then the WWE Champions thing comes around and he says again it's Detractor nonsense. And his guild in WWE Champions is brought up and oh my god, it's a meme. He didn't say no, I don't know what it is, and leave it at that, and we would only have a 6-second clip, which would amount to nothing. I think with him going on with 3 different theories amounts to a little bit of something that he knows what's going on, and he's just still trying really, really hard pretend like it's not him. The other thing that's been going strong in DSP's life, besides his gacha addiction, is the vest streak, which probably is feeding the gacha addiction. But Saturday night stream was the 50 vest streak goal hit. DSP promised his audience something cool if they hit the 50 vest streak. And guess what they got? If you said Gugats, you'd be correct. DSP didn't have anything planned outside of maybe buying a new vest, but oh my god, I can't go clothes shopping because of COVID. So someone else was going to make something for the stream, and they haven't made it yet. But I promise when we get to 100, I'll do something really cool. Like, how can you not have something in the back pocket? Like, can't even go get a box of dry cereal out and say, alright guys, we did 50, time for an impromptu DSP tries it. I mean, this is like his sub-goal nonsense all over again, and his viewer's choice nonsense all over again. He promises these rewards, he dangles this shit in front of his audience and says, give me money and I'll do something, and then barely delivers on it. I mean, I was giving him the slightest bit of praise to say, hey, you know what? The vest goal, as dumb as it is, at least he's doing something for getting $100. Even if it's something as lame as just putting a piece of clothing on, that's something more than just him previously, where he would get $100 and then say, thanks, thumbs up to the camera, I'm gonna spend that on bills, and then back to business as normal. And then get agitated when people asked, hey, we hit the tips goal, what's the goal? Oh, I get to keep paying my bills and keep doing this for free, fuck you. It just makes me wonder what lame fucking low effort thing we're going to get at 100, or if he's gonna get to 100 and be like, oh guys, I had something planned but I couldn't do it. At least for the Christmas DSP tries it, he had some Christmas cereal he smashed into his face and cried about eating, talking about, oh, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, and then not do any of it. Fuck, man, at least go to like PetSmart or something and get an $8 vest for Jasper and then show off Jasper and be like, see, look, I got him a little vest too. I did the same thing for Rocky. It's not that hard. Fuck, you don't even have to go to PetSmart. You can go to Chewy.com and order it. Just like you could probably order a new vest on Amazon. I mean, fuck, doesn't Cat work in the clothing department at Fred Meyer? There's no DSP sized vests of different colors that he could have gotten. It just continues to blow my mind how reasonably successful DSP is at streaming, not at life, obviously, because the dude's declaring bankruptcy. But he actively does nothing for his audience. He doesn't do anything to try to build a community. He doesn't do anything to try to give back to the community or reward them for their support. Nothing like that. Instead, it's just repeated abuse and repeated pignosis and continual disappointment over and over and over again. And yet somehow he still gets $200 a day and 800 subs a month now. We'll just have to wait and see until the next week in DSP what happens to him. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for the support recently. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the Nick Rekieta stream with myself and Agent Proper with Nick's manager or community manager. Actually, I'm not even sure what Keck does, but I was glad to have Keck there too to help kind of wrangle us in and bring us on topic about DSP. He was the one that made the timeline that we were going through and providing more details about DSP and his internet career. I'm really sorry for this one being late. I always am sorry when I'm late. There was a combination of work being busy, DSP being busy, the Rekieta stream, and of course, taking care of Rocky and other real life commitments that led to this one being a little bit later. But with how the week of 4/27 has already shaped up to be while I've been recording this one, I couldn't wait to get this one out so I could start on the next video because there has been a ton of salty pig rants and spiciness and hot takes and more updates. And it's only Friday. We could get more updates by the weekend. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Please like the video if you'd like to support. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to get alerted to restreams and weekend DSP updates. The Discord is always free to join, and we talk about DSP all the time, but we also play video games together from time to time too. There's also a movie night group that meets on the weekends. And with my shilling out of the way, I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy, and we will see you in the next stream or video.